Okay, so now that we set up the orthographic views, it's all about workflow. Trust me, it all about workflow. So the workflow has to be set up. So let's go into shading and turn wireframe on shaded. That's going to help us. Another thing that's going to help us is if we set up a couple materials. So wait a minute, I'm going to destroy my materials here I'm just going to set something back up to default before I went dinking around with stuff. Ignore this. Okay, so let's start out by setting up those materials. So first, some geometry. Let's click a box. And if the box doesn't show up, make sure you have interactive creation off. That way the box shows up perfectly square. Okay, let's go into the front view. Let's size this box up and go mesh smooth. What I want to do is see through this squircle box, okay? And I want to do it in such a way that I can keep switching back and forth and show you where I'm making changes and why I'm making those changes. You know, that way I can really teach you what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is right click and assign a new material to the box called Lambert. And this should be called Lambert 5. So I got Lambert 1 and Lambert 5. So one more Lambert. Okay, now let's kind of go in here to my Hypershade and see what we can do with these materials. So with this one, I want to right click on it and rename it Clear. And rename this Solid. Okay, Solid and Clear. Okay, so the clear one, if I click on it, what I want to do is lower its transparency just a little bit over here. So that means if I take it and assign, by right clicking, assign a new material or existing material clear, I should be able to see through this rather well. It doesn't have to see all the way through it, but just enough so I can kind of get the general idea where I'm at. Good. Okay. Now, solid will just do the exact opposite. Okay, so what I'm going to do is set up a shelf command here, up here in my modeling. So it will, anytime I use the word clear or solid from now on, Maya will know that that is what it's for, as long as I set those materials up ahead of time. Okay, so how I do that is the magical script editor down here. And what I want to do is right click, clear all. Okay, so let's assign the solid one first. Okay, right click, assign existing material, solid. Okay, what it'll do this, and what I want to do is highlight it, file, save script to shelf, and this I'm going to call it solid. Okay, and I want to do it as a mel. Okay, now what I'm going to do is clear that again, clear all, and right click on it, assign existing material, clear, and then go up here, file, save script to shelf, and we'll call this one clear. Okay, very good. Now what we have is a switch, and that is 101 of mel scripting. Of course, it's way more complex than that, and I'm very dense when it comes to mel scripting, but when it comes to the automatic, think about everything that you do in Maya is basically a command in mel or Python. And if you want a command that you do all the time, well, what you can do is go over there to the mel window and capture that stuff and make it into buttons. So now what I have is a solid switch and a clear switch. Pretty sweet, no doubt. Let's say I want to get rid of it. All I do is have to go in here and go to Shelf Editor, where you can go down and take solid and delete item. You can also change the image and make your own icon if you wanted to. Okay, so that is setting up your workflow for this operation. Next, we're going to start modeling.